Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at a Quadruple A team on PvPoke for the Open Master League. This team doesn't actually have anything like the Zygarde or the Solgaleo, which kind of surprised me, but this team is going to have something like the Xerneas, like the Landorus, or also our own Palkia origin form, which is a Shando, which sadly doesn't have the correct move, but it is what it is. Hopefully we're going to have the option to give this Pokemon the move eventually, but yeah, basically what I want to say here is that this team is going to have a Quadruple A rating on PvPoke. What this means is that basically there are 4 different kind of stats that the team can have on PvPoke, and all of those are going to be on the best ranking. And if you have seen my comments towards this kinda in earlier videos already, you kinda know my opinion towards this entire system there on PvPoke. I feel like it is kinda unnecessary. We're gonna talk about this one as well. But yeah, this team is apparently basically the best that you can have in any kind of stat product or whatever. But yeah, you're gonna be able to see the first battle the opponent kinda gave up, I think, already after hitting that Stonish against the opponent Shadow Ho-Oh. They maybe have a triple Shadow team. This would be kind of funny. We will never find out, but let's move on to the next opponent. So, why do I think that this stat does not really make any kind of difference towards the team, or is like something that you should even look at? If we're gonna take a look at my Legend team of this season for the Jungle Cup, it has basically the worst stats for all kind of the rankings here, like literally nearly the worst. I think D is the worst of them all that you can have for a team, and so it kind of showcases you can hit Legend with like really bad teams as well, apparently based on what PvPoke says to you. But you should really not take a look at this if you want to build a team. A team is way better built if you just gonna go ahead and have like several cores that you can kind of want to build around, a strategy that you have, something that you want to bait out. Stuff like this is way more important than consistency and all that kind of stuff for the teams, because at the end of the day, I would really not recommend you to go by the overview tab basically on PvPoke with like coverage, bulk, safety, and consistency, because at the end of the day, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, it literally does not really matter at all for the team if it's good, if it's going to be able to counter the meta, if there's going to be a strategy behind. It's way more important. So I love PvPoke, best website for PvP or whatever. Just that's like the small tab which I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't really agree with the use of it, but yeah, let's move on. Next opponent, we're going to have here a Kyogre in the lead. Kyogre is basically the worst possible lead that you can have, I feel like, with this team. Because you cannot swap out, you're forced to stay in. You win the 0 shields against it, but yeah, that's basically it. For this team, you're going to have to align your Palkia later on anyway. That's kind of the most important thing. But yeah, for this team again, like, this is going to be a Quadruple A team here. But yeah, I would recommend you to mostly not really take a look at this too much when you team build. I might make a video as well in May or something about team building as well. Maybe it's kind of something interesting for you guys if you want to see like how I team build. Like, there are different kind of ways on team building. Let me know in the comment section if you would be interested in this. We'll definitely make a video towards the topic as well. I made already some team building videos prior on this channel, but some stuff kind of changed for me as well on how I kind of look into how to build a team, and I also kind of want to make it a little bit more, I don't know, like more thought out and try to show you different kind of ways of building teams, because they're like ABA teams, they're ABC teams, they're ABB teams, and all that kind of stuff. Kind of need some explanation as well, because I see a lot of confusion as well a lot of times. Here, by the way, if they didn't get the boost, I would have won this game, but like, because they got the boost, I'm sadly going to have to forfeit now, as they're going to also call the bait here. This was my only hope, but yeah, let's move on. But yeah, I know that a lot of people are especially kind of not really knowing on how to play ABB or ABA teams, because I see a lot of confusion in the comment section towards this. So maybe I'm going to make a video towards team building as well again. But yeah, let's more dive into the gameplay here, less talking about the system on PvPoke. But maybe actually still in the future I might still make teams with like a Quadruple A or whatever, if it's going to be like for a special cup. Like, don't think that I'm not going to use it for at least video idea, but myself, I don't think it's really important. But I think I'm always going to say that in every video where I would use that kind of graph. But otherwise, let's take a look here at the team. We're going to have the Xerneas here in the lead, which is going to go up now against a Ho-Oh. And here we are going to be in a very tough spot. Why are we in a tough spot? Because the opponent has so much energy lead with their Ho-Oh that we are forced to use a shield here. And we have to hope that they decide to use a shield against the Sancier Storm. If they don't do this, we are done. But they decide to do this, and so we can go for a Stone Edge, and we can go ahead and knock them out with that. Goodbye there, even though we're debuffed. Oh, actually, it doesn't knock them out. Doesn't matter, because we can farm them down. Like, this is definitely Geomancy range as well. So we are going to be definitely kind of great here. The opponent is going to go down after one Moonblast, and so we can win this game. And we can move on to the next opponent. So, how did this team actually play out for me? This team was fine. This team, I think, is a solid team to use. Like, I would not say it is the best team I ever used in the Open Master League. This would be definitely a little bit of an overstatement for that one. But it is a solid team. Like, if you have the Pokemon, definitely try it out. We would give it a try. Definitely a very solid team to use. There are sometimes some weaknesses. I feel like it's a little bit too weak to charm users, which is something that kind of takes over the Master League right now, which I might make a video against it soon, but we will take a look at this when it comes. But yeah, here this team, definitely something I would recommend you to try out. It's definitely a solid one to play. We want to have here the Shadow Mewtwo, which was able to knock us out, but we're still going to have 2 shields, but I basically think that they went up to 99 energy prior. So yeah, this would be a CMP type. I decided to wait out actually a turn here to see if they're gonna go for an extra fast move, because like this I can overfarm as well, which was a little bit of a mistake because they were able to swap out now. If I went straight for my charge move, I might have been a little bit in a better spot here, but it is what it is. We can still try to play around. We're forced to go for a Stone Edge eventually, but we were actually able to catch the move onto our Xerneas, which is going to be great. Stone Edge is coming through. Hopefully we can still reach the Moonblast in time, but we cannot. We reach it just barely too late, and this is basically deciding the game. If the Moonblast would have landed here, of course, we would have been able to win this game fairly easily at this point, because we had like so much energy on our Landorus, but because we were not able to get to a move, it is kind of awkward. Even if we went for the close combat, we most likely would have been even better off, so this was maybe a mistake by me. But like this, they're going to be able to swap out. They had a Dialga in the back. I feel like if I went for the close combat before, I had a way better chance of winning this, but it is what it is. Let's move on to the next opponent. An amazing lead is awaiting for us as they swap out into the Landorus. Apparently, like, this core is very, very common right now. Like, I see a lot of times the lead of the Palkia origin, which does make sense because it beats basically everything in the top meta, and then the swap into the Landorus. So interesting. I want to see what they're going to have in the back here right now, but we're going to be able to kind of wall this team with this team here, which is kind of great. And this was actually like something that gave us a lot of wins as well. Like, a lot of the top meta teams were pretty weak to us, and this was kind of great. You have to be a little bit careful, by the way, in this matchup. Palkia takes a little bit longer to go for the Awkward Tail compared to the opponent getting to the Sancia Storm, and they can two-shot you in the two-shield scenario. But usually, if you swap out fast enough, you should be able to outspeed the opponent and align yourself, which is a very important for this one, especially if you saw the lead already of the opponent's Palkia. And now they're going to reveal their final Pokemon. Being a Xerneas, you see me here letting them basically farm us all the way down, because there's no reason for me to not do this, because I need to kind of align myself, and if I would have stopped out, it would have been a little bit awkward. So now we can still go back into our Landorus. Landorus will be able to take a Moonblast, and we can just try to go for a Sancia Storm, I thought, but I decided to overfarm, and this was a mistake because I thought they would try to catch, but they didn't. And so their defense drops. They're mostly going to try to swap out now onto the charge move exactly, but we can overfarm by a little bit. We are not in Moonblast range either, and so we're going to be able to go for our own Moonblast. We can go for the full farm down, and now we should be just able to reach another Moonblast in time. Their only hope is if they get the attack drop from their Moonblast here, which they do not, and so we can win this game. So good game there to the opponent. Our Xerneas is going to be able to win this for us, and we can move on to the next opponent. Landorus in the lead. This is going to be something that I don't really like as a lead, and I should most likely play it differently. Honestly, I was not really paying too much attention to this beta as far as I remember, at least. But I should have most likely done it a little bit differently here. I decided to go straight for the Moonblast, let the first move go through. You should most likely swap out after the Moonblast into your own Landorus, because otherwise this matchup is just not really great for you. We're going to see here that one Stone Edge will be enough to knock us out if they're going to go for that, and they decide to go for that, which is a smart move. And now we are in a completely different matchup here, as they're going to go up against the Landorus. They still get up to another Sancia Storm, which is going to drop our own attack, and so we have to hope there's something in the back that's going to be very weak against our Landorus. And as they decide to stay in with their own Dialga, I am kind of hopeful here. So we can go for a Sancia Storm, drop their attack, and so they're going to do less damage with their Dragon Breath. But honestly, the matchup against this Dialga is so much worse for the Landorus, so If you have the option between the Origin Dialga and the normal Dialga, go for the Origin Dialga. It's just the Landorus matchup is so much worse for Landorus if it's the Origin, because against the normal one you can just farm them down after one Sensia Storm. This is not really the luxury that you have here, and we can still at least go ahead and go for another charge move against the Mewtwo, drop the attack even lower, but it's going to be a very tough battle to come back from. But they decide to use a shield, and this is going to be our only hope of winning this game. I did not expect that they would do this, but this is going to be great, because now we can go for the Draco Media. Yes, we don't have, of course, the Spatial Rent, as we did not have the ticket for this Pokemon, but yeah, we're going to be able to knock them out. We have to hope that we can still outspeed them. We should be able to, and we are able to outspeed them to win the game. Honestly, Landorus, such an overpowered Pokemon right now. Let's move on into the next opponent. We're going to encounter Primarina in the lead, and this kind of makes me fear a triple charm team, basically, which is kind of common nowadays as well. But yeah, like basically this team kind of can struggle against charm Pokemon. You're forced to stay in here in the lead, but the opponent decided to go ahead and use a shield on the first one. This allows us to go for another Moonblast here, and the opponent is going to decide to use another shield. So they're 2 shields down, but they get a ton of energy, which is going to force our Landorus to use a shield as well, because if Landorus gets low or goes down, we have no answer to Primarina anymore, and the opponent kinda, I guess, knows it as well, because we decide to use all the shields. And so for them, the obvious play is to swap out here into the Giratina. I decided to go for one Sensia Storm before, so the opponent does less damage with their Shadow Ball against me, but it is not going to be too great. We're going to overfarm by a little bit, but swap out then into our own Palkia, because we kinda have to, as the opponent can go for 2 Shadow Balls, which should not knock us out anymore because of the debuff, and so we can get a ton of energy, and hopefully it's going to be perfectly enough to go for one Draco Media against the opponent, but it is going to still, of course, be resisted, double resisted by the Primarina, and this is why Primarina is so strong right now. Primarina beats completely the Palkia, which is absolutely wild. Made a video about this Pokemon a little bit early on as well, when the last time was basically where the Master League was available, so check this out if you want to see a team around Primarina, but they have the Everluck in the back, and sadly, even if I went straight for my charge move, which I should have done here, they would have outsped me anyway, so it is what it is. We can see here that they're gonna get to the charge move in time while we have 1 HP left, so good game there, nothing I can do. But we can move on to the next opponent. We're going to have another Everluck here. Everluck in the lead is going to be way better for us. It is actually not even ideal still, because if they're going to play this one out how they're supposed to do it, they're going to be able to survive a close combat eventually because of the Icy Wind dropping our attack the entire time, which is kind of great for them. I missed by this a little bit. I went for my charge move after one fast move here, because I gave away, I think it's like 6 energy that I gave away with that, which is a little bit silly, but they gave me a free fast move here anyway, so that's great. Icy Wind coming through. We can go for another close combat, but we of course are not able to swap out of this matchup anymore, because we have one Pokemon in the back that's great for it, but we have the Landorus, which really needs to avoid the Everluck. So here we're gonna get the knockout, which is great, and we can swap out as they're swapping out to their own Palkia, which is a little bit of an awkward matchup again for us, but we still should be kind of fine here, hopefully. So, in comes Sensia Storm, going to drop the opponent's attack. We can go for another one afterwards as well, hopefully, as I should still be able to survive a move here. The awkward here is coming through. We do survive this one, which I expected, and so the Sensia Storm is going to get them insanely low, as this is going to be a Dragon Breath downrange for my own Palkia, and Palkia against the Solgaleo is usually a great matchup, because the fast move of Solgaleo is double resisted. We are doing still resisted damage as well, but our awkward here is at least neutral and got buffed this season, so I will try to catch a move here, because I do think that they are going to run the move Solar Beam, based on how they kind of react like they're trying to build up to a Solar Beam the entire time. So I'm kind of going to go ahead and make a little bit of a prediction here. What is this? I decide to go for a shield now immediately as soon as the opponent tries to throw, because usually what you do as a Solgaleo is you go for Psychic Fangs and you just try to wreck on those debuffs. But yes, as you can see here, they are running the Solar Beam, and so we will be able to go for an awkward heal, try to knock them out. This is going to be enough to knock them out, and we can win this game. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I see you then. Bye bye.